You may think Glendarroch is a quiet spot, but not when everyone's gossiping.
Everybody? Or just dirty-minded, frustrated old busybodies like you?
Should have guessed if you were saying something nice to me, there'd be some evil-minded purpose behind it.
You made him very angry.
I did, didn't I?
Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 2:30 on Central, take the high road.
Let a Pearl pension help look after the fundamental things. Dial 100 and ask for a free phone Pearl now.
I work from home and William and Pinky are always somewhere nearby. They eat Whiskers. They seem to like it. They obviously seem to enjoy it. I mean, William will even purr while he's eating. That's all they'll really eat. I think Whiskers is the best. I wouldn't give them anything but Whiskers. I'm their mum.
I had been shipwrecked on this island now for 3 long years. I was becoming weary of the same old food. Then one day I came across a wooden case. Inside I found a curry sauce, a chili sauce, and spicy tomato, all from HP. My food was now much improved. I wish I could say the same for Friday. He still can't get my name right.
Pass the sauce, Harry.
Add variety to life with the new sauces from HP.
The Milka cow is very special. She lives up in the Alps. There she is. The air she breathes is pure and clean because it's mountain air. She eats the fresh green grass and drinks water from the clear mountain streams. It's no wonder she produces smooth, delicious milk. Milk that makes Milka chocolate so tender and tempting. Heidi loves the taste, but even she doesn't know why the Milka cow is lilac. Why is the cow lilac?
Runny nose, sore throat, coughs, sneezes, and the shivers. Wouldn't it be nice if you could get relief from all those misery-making cold symptoms? Well, you can, with Day Nurse and Night Nurse. Day Nurse relieves your symptoms without causing drowsiness throughout the day. And Night Nurse relieves them during the night. So help say good riddance to bad cold and flu symptoms. With Day Nurse and Night Nurse from Beecham.
Do you know what I hate about Sundays?
Brussels sprouts.
Mondays. That's what I hate about Sundays, knowing it's Monday the day after. How can you relax knowing you've got to go to work the next day? I hate it, don't you?
Not really, no.
Why is that then?
I've retired.
Will you have the clout of a Prudential pension in your 50s? Prudential. We explain and arrange more personal pensions than anybody else.
Drama tonight at 7:45 on Central. Wish me luck.
All exit routes from the crest will be sealed off, and anyone attempting to escape will be shot. Halt!
Will she be killed? At 9:05, it's Agatha Christie's Poirot.
I am well aware that this modest case has not the same dramatic appeal as the dealings of Monsieur Cagney and his G-men. Even so, it is a mystery and worthy of our attention.
Be sure to give all your attention to tonight on Central. At the heart of the ITV network, you're watching Central.
The news from ITN.
Angry crowds storm Romanian government headquarters. More than 1,000 demonstrators chanting "Down with Communism" and calling for the resignation of Romania's interim government smashed their way into the headquarters of the National Salvation Front in Bucharest. The protesters seized the country's vice president. It's not known where he's been taken. This report just in from Simon Cole in Bucharest.
It wasn't the biggest demonstration against the Salvation Front, but it was the most effective. Some 3,000 Romanians chanted against the interim government. After 40 years without democracy, they still distrust the scent of communism. And in Victoria Square, they stormed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, effectively the seat of government. Some soldiers inside seemed bewildered, but at least shouting had replaced shooting. They broke windows and climbed in. The crowd outside threw stones and even mud at the building, demanding the resignation of Ion Iliescu, the interim president. Eventually, the Salvation Front flag was waved from the balcony. and then somewhere in the crowd, a shot. Eventually, the crowd got inside the building. On the balcony, they chanted their success. Spontaneous demonstrations here are still illegal, but such is the frustration of the people that they've taken over the equivalent of our Foreign Office. The crowd is still inside the building and outside. Simon Cole, ITN, in Bucharest.
Mrs. Thatcher has said German unity must not threaten the stability of Europe. In her clearest statement on the issue, the Prime Minister said she recognised unification was inevitable. But she told a meeting of leading British Jews she also understood those with bitter memories of the past.
The Prime Minister's speech to representatives of Britain's Jewish community was an unapologetic message of caution on the reunification of East and West Germany.
There's no doubt that this coming together of the two parts of Germany is going to happen. But it's understandable that for some, bitter memories of the past should colour their view of the present and the future.
Mrs. Thatcher said Germany should stay in NATO with US troops stationed there, and that it should be unified within its existing borders, not those of Hitler's Germany of 1937.
For instance, we understand and indeed fully support Poland's wish to see its western border guaranteed by treaty. And other neighbouring states will have their particular views too.
This evening, the Labour Party said Mrs. Thatcher's delusion she could stop history in its tracks was isolating Britain. But according to Downing Street sources, the Prime Minister believes that other European countries will shortly be voicing concerns of their own. Kim Catcheside, ITN, Central London.
Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party is heading for its 12th election win in a row, despite recent sex and corruption scandals. Computer predictions suggest it's comfortably beaten off the challenge of the Socialists, headed by Japan's first woman leader, Takako Doi.
The victory was a personal triumph for Prime Minister Toshiki Kaifu. A matter of months ago, few would have bet on the Liberal Democrats winning a working majority. The mood at party headquarters was one of quiet relief rather than celebration. They knew they'd been perilously close to losing for the first time in 34 years. The socialist leader, Takako Doi, the dreams of becoming her country's first woman prime minister are over. As she conceded defeat, she admitted the opposition parties had failed because they fought each other rather than the government. But it's the power brokers behind the scenes here at Liberal Democrats' headquarters who'll decide the future of Prime Minister Toshiki Kaifu. Last year, they selected him to give the party a clean image. But even as he was claiming victory this evening, it was being suggested he'd served his purpose and should return to obscurity. So even a year of scandal hasn't been enough to end one-party rule in Japan. James Mates, ITN, Tokyo.
And that's it. Goodbye.
Good evening. A lot of wet and very windy weather to come for many parts of Britain over the next 24 hours. And here's the culprit, an area of low pressure out in the Atlantic that's set to run northwestwards by lunchtime tomorrow, up to the northwest of Scotland. Gales in many western and northern parts, severe gales in parts of Scotland, perhaps right up to storm force winds right up in northwestern Scotland. The other elements in the weather, Scotland, Northern Ireland, some sunshine but a fair number of showers, quite a lot of them heavy, with hail, perhaps even thunder mixed into it. Over England and Wales, the rain pushing south through the day for a time. Some of the rain in the west quite heavy, but patchy in the east before it pulls back north again later in the day. A reminder of those winds, the northwest of Scotland perhaps up to storm force, gales, perhaps severe gales in many other western areas. Temperatures, well, largely irrelevant, 10, that's 50 Fahrenheit.
Good evening. Now the news from Central. Detectives have stepped up the hunt for the killer of a Northamptonshire man whose body lay undiscovered in his home for days. Police from across the country have now been called in to piece together the last moments of John Barnard and his killer.
The hunt for the killer of 51-year-old John Barnard is stretching across the country now. He was found stabbed to death in the bedroom of his home in Bellinge in Northampton on Friday. Mr. Barnard's lifestyle is still something of a mystery.
He was divorced. His wife, in fact, died and was buried on the day that Mr. Barnard's body was found. We're talking to his family, his two sons who live in Essex, and gradually piecing together some sort of picture as to the man, his movements, associates and background.
A pregnant woman who disturbed a burglar is in a comfortable condition in hospital after being stabbed in Oldbury yesterday. Her husband returned home to find a knife sticking in her stomach. It's believed her baby wasn't injured. A family from Burton-on-Trent are furious over a court decision to order a teenage girl to pay £10 in costs after knocking down a woman on a zebra crossing, then driving off.
Mrs. Begum died later that evening from her injuries. Today at her home in Burton, the family and Asian leaders gathered, confused and angered.
We are thinking, and the community as whole of Burton are thinking, to have a mass demonstration for next week. We want justice done. We want to know the reason why there was no evidence provided.
Police in Oxfordshire are hunting arsonists who set a series of fires last night in Wallingford. Geriatric patients had to be evacuated when a building next to a hospital caught fire. Earlier, 3 separate fires were found at a school. The draw for the quarter-finals of the FA Cup have thrown up an away tie for Aston Villa at Oldham Athletic or Everton. Sheffield United will meet Manchester United if they can beat Barnsley. Now look at the weather, and most of the night will be dry, but it's going to cloud over from the west with some rain later. The temperature down to about 5 Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit. It'll be a cloudy morning to come with rain on and off and some fairly heavy rain in the northwest. Well, that's all for now. Don't forget to join us again in the morning.
He's cool, and he has so much to recommend him.
Youth, enthusiasm, intelligence, good looks, charm.
And he's worth his weight in gold.
25p an hour?
Now he's met his perfect match.
Ashley?
Sundays at 7:15 on Central, the two of us, a real pair.
Lot number 22, a Victorian rocking horse. Do I hear £75? On my right. £100, £125, £150, £175, £200. £200 I'm bid. Any advance on £200? It's against you, sir. All done at £200. It's yours, madam.
The Daily Mail. Good reading always shows.
Well, apologies for this short delay before we join Harry Seacombe for Highway. That's in just a few moments. It's new, but not that new. It's fast, very fast. If you're wrong, too bad. If you're right,
he's right. Well done.
Go for gold with a brand new series of blockbusters with host Bob Honus.
Eggs? Yes, Stuart. Cabbage.
Brilliant.
What made him say cabbage?
Food for thought, blockbusters, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays at 5:10 on Central. And now it's time to join Harry Seacombe at Greenwich for Highway.